In the previous lecture, we created our store. Now what we will be doing in this one is we'll be referring that store in our main.js file, and then we'll move ahead and create one component. So here in our main.js file, you can see that it's residing under the src directory. All we are doing is importing store from store directory, and then in our Vue instance we are making use of it. Now next thing that we are doing is inside the components directory we have created a new component called getTodo.view. Let's open up and see what exactly we are trying to do over here. Here inside the template you can see that we have a div and a text box and a button. Now the text box is having certain events associated, like on change we are getting this getTodo. The placeholder says I need to, like you're trying to complete a task or something, and the value attribute is associated with the new to do. So if you remember, in our store we had this state new to do which was empty. So initialized with the empty value, this to do will be empty initially. Now clicking on this button, we'll call this add to do method which we have defined over here, and on change we are calling this get to do which we have defined over here. So whatever we will be entering will be actually captured inside get to do. And if you take a look at this statement that we have over here, it says this.store.dispatch, and here we have get to do. Now this get to do or this add to do or this clear to do that you see over here are the actions that we defined in our store.js file. So here you can see the actions: get to do, add to do, edit, remove, complete, and clear to do. When we call this via store, it will be actually calling the associated mutation. So when we say get to do, this is going to call this commit get to do item. And this get to do, as you can see in our mutation, is there, which is setting the new to do value to the one which we are passing. So that way we are calling all the actions, and then the actions are calling the mutations. There's one more thing that we will be making use of over here is a computed property, and this new to do that you see returns the value of the new to do entered by the user. And here we are making use of getters. Now if I take you to the store.js file, we have introduced a new thing called getters. Here, so this new to do that we see over here is actually in our getTodo.view is bind to the value. And this also returns an array containing all of the to-dos whose completed value is set to false. Since we also want to display all the completed to-dos inside a component that we'll be creating called completed to-dos, so for that reason we have included this as well. So when we say this.store.getters new to do, in that case we are referring to this attribute. That is, internally it's accessing this new to do via this getters. We'll be making use of this to-dos in the other component that we'll be creating, and we'll be calling it as completed to-dos. So that's pretty much it with the get-to-dos component. Here all we are doing is retrieving the to-do item that is being entered by the user and adding it and then clearing the text box.